Do you need to make a Valentine's card and you have barely any time left? So I'll show you today 2 ideas on how to create Valentine's card very quickly and easy. I have here a card base and a panel. You could use any of these things on your screen, listed on your screen, to give some interest to your background panel. I am using a dotted plate. It's a detail plate by Fawn. I will try to link some other options on the information box down below. And I'm gonna run it through my die cutting machine. That's gonna make sure that my background is all white, has a little bit of interest without overwhelming and without being too distracting. It also adds a lot of detail quickly and easily, and that's why I love this plate. I do apologize for the noise in the background. I am currently traveling, I'm not at home, and I really wanted to post this video, share it with you before Valentine's Day, ideally, right? So I have no other option than to record the voiceover while I'm away, and there's no quiet place to do it. Here on the screen, you can see me removing those tiny bits on the die cut pieces from the pattern, from the background pattern, and I didn't bring the tool to remove them, so that took me a little while. That's one of the things that I always like to point out. You don't need to have all the tools in your stash for card making, but they do make your life way easier. They do save a lot of time. And then I'm gonna glue down this whole background to my card base, and this is our second one. For this one, I'm gonna do the same pattern, but I'm gonna emboss it myself. I have this scoring board, and I'm gonna score each half an inch here on my scoring board. It has this piece that allows me to do it in an angle, but you could use just a triangle of paper or cardstock in the corner, and that will work as well. Once you do score the whole length of your background panel, then you just turn it around 90 degrees and you score it again. It's very quick and easy, and it looks very nice in the end. It is the same pattern as the other one, but just as I said before, this one you can do it using just a ruler and a stylus or an empty pen, like I've done before in many of my videos. But it's gonna take time. It's gonna take a lot of time. So the first one, I created that card very quickly, very easily. And this one, it took me a few extra minutes. It's not that much if you're making one or two, but it is going to take a while if you're going to make, let's say, 20 for your child's classroom, you know? And here's the end result. It looks like an embossing folder, a 2D embossing folder, but I really like the way it looks. And in those spaces in between, I'm gonna show you here in a second, you could just add more detail if you want to. In my case, I am going to show you on the screen, I have these confetti, and it's shaped like a heart, but it's kind of clear with an iridescent sheen. So you could add small hearts or small die cut hearts, or the ones that you cut with a paper punch. You could add them in the spaces in between and following the pattern, and it would look very nice, but that would take way more time, way more extra time. I am going to try to suggest one of the background detail dot plates that has already the die cut hearts instead of these tiny kind of petal shaped ones that mine has. So you could do that instead. That also ties in with the theme of Valentine's, but it takes way longer. I am showing you here on the screen. This is very sped up and still it took me a while. So I did one row to show you how it would look with the sheen, with the shine of the confetti. But in the end, I was like, no, I'm not gonna do this. It's gonna be torture. And the idea was to make something clean and simple, quick and easy. So that would actually take a lot of extra time. Off screen, I die cut 2 red hearts. They are different shapes, different sizes as well. And then I have this Valentine stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. It's an old one. I'm gonna write the name on the information box down below. I am going to place one of the hearts in my stamping platform, put the sentiment wherever I want it. You saw me hover the whole panel where all the stamps are, and then I can kind of measure the size of the sentiment I want, the shape of the sentiment that I want, that I need. Doing that as well, that's a small tip for you. And then I'm gonna stamp it with white pigment ink. I'm gonna stamp it a couple of times, even if I don't show you here on the screen. I stamped it like 3 or 4 times to get a solid sentiment. And then I'm gonna sprinkle some white embossing powder from Wow. Before, I forgot to mention, but I did use my anti-static powder bag just to make sure that I'm not gonna get the embossing powder sticking everywhere I held the paper. Bye. If you need to know more, if you're a beginner and if you don't know how to do heat embossing, please let me know. I'll be happy to share another video explaining it better and showing more examples. But I am assuming that most people already know, so I'm kind of not giving that much detail about it. Because my 2 hearts are different sizes and different shapes, I had to choose different sentiments for each one. So I'm doing the whole process again. I chose the sentiment, I'm using my anti-static tool, and then I'm gonna stamp a few times, a couple of times, sprinkle the embossing powder, and then I'm gonna heat up both hearts at the same time with my heat tool. Now, I suggest that you do this quickly if you are using pigment ink, because sometimes they do dry quickly depending on the brand. This one, mine is very dry. I need to refill it, but I don't actually have a refill for it. So I'm making do, you know me. Once I heat embossed it, I had some gaps on the embossing, and off screen I just filled the gaps with a white gel pen, and that worked. But it doesn't look as great because I waited for it to dry to then put the embossing powder. I chose to do my hearts in red, but you could use any color, and then instead of heat embossing you could just use a nice color and just stamp it. If you choose like a lighter color, like a lighter pink, you probably don't need to heat emboss. You could just stamp like with black ink or darker pink, and it would still look very good. As you can see here, I ink blended the edges to darken them a little bit more. I thought that would give it also a little bit of interest, and it kind of frames the heart and the sentiment a little bit better. And I'm gonna add 3 of those confettis. If you took it in the light, they kind of sparkle a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing for the second card, but this one I'm changing the orientation from portrait to landscape. I added some dimensional double-sided adhesive on the back of the 2 hearts because I love dimension, but you don't need to do that. And I'm trying to center it, but only now watching the video I'm noticing that it's not centered at all. But that's it. I'm calling them done. I am probably going to add a sub-sentiment later off screen to both of them. Please let me know in the comments what you think. If I have time, I'll try to share another Valentine's idea with you before Valentine's. It depends on when I get home and if I have a chance to record another video, edit and post it. I hope this is helpful. Have a lovely week and have fun crafting. Bye!